All right, let's kick off this deep dive. Today we're tackling Walmart's third quarter earnings. And let me tell you, it's been a strong quarter.
Definitely impressive.
We've got both the earnings call transcript and the presentation slides to dig into, and there's a lot to unpack. It seems like Walmart is really going beyond just low prices and finding new ways to adapt to the changing retail landscape.
Yeah, and one of the things that really jumped out at me was how they're appealing to a wider range of shoppers,
You're right.
especially those higher income shoppers.
Exactly. That's a big shift, isn't it?
It really is. It challenges that traditional image of who shops at Walmart.
For sure.
They're becoming a one-stop shop for everyone. It seems like that's their strategy.
I mean, just look at this. 75% of their U.S. market share gains came from households earning over $100,000. That's incredible. So what's driving this change?
Well, it's a tricky question.
Is it just the economy? Like, are people just looking for deals because of inflation?
Well, value is always a factor, right?
Yeah, of course.
Especially when inflation is hitting everyone's wallets.
Right.
But I think Walmart is also offering something more premium
Really?
than a lot of people might realize. They're expanding their selection of organic produce, gluten-free items, even grass-fed beef, particularly for those pickup and delivery orders.
So they're catering to those customers who are looking for those higher quality products.
Exactly. They're meeting those needs.
And speaking of convenience, we have to talk about their e-commerce performance.
Oh, yeah.
Global e-commerce sales jumped 27% this quarter. I mean, wow.
It's remarkable.
That's got to be more than just people sticking with their pandemic shopping habits.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. This isn't just a lingering effect of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Walmart is strategically investing in making things more convenient.
Like what kind of things are they doing?
Well, take store-fulfilled delivery, for example. That grew almost 50%, and it's exceeding a $2.5 billion monthly run rate. They're making it incredibly easy for customers to get what they need when they need it without even leaving their homes.
And here's the thing. They're doing all of this while actually shrinking their e-commerce losses.
Right.
They're making it work.
Yeah.
In the earnings call, they mentioned things like delivery densification, more paid expedited deliveries, and supply chain automation.
It sounds like they're becoming experts in logistics.
They are.
Can you explain a little more about that? Like, what does delivery densification actually mean in practice?
Sure. So think about it this way. They're basically making their delivery network super efficient,
Okay.
grouping orders together that are going to the same area, using technology to figure out the best routes for drivers, all that kind of stuff.
So it's not just about having a bunch of delivery trucks, it's about making those trucks work smarter.
Exactly. And that helps them cut costs and speed up delivery times. I see. So it all ties into this bigger trend we're seeing across the retail industry, where logistics is becoming a major competitive advantage.
For sure. And Walmart's scale, their size and resources, gives them a real edge.
It's like turning their stores into mini fulfillment centers almost.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just about e-commerce either. They're also seeing huge growth in memberships, both for Walmart Plus and Sam's Club.
That's right.
Why do you think that is?
I think it goes back to that desire for value and perks.
Okay.
People want to feel like they're getting something extra,
Yeah.
especially when the economy is uncertain. And Sam's Club is really doubling down on those perks, adding express delivery and waiving those curbside pickup fees for their top-tier members.
Smart move. No wonder their e-commerce growth has jumped over 700 basis points since August.
Absolutely. They're catering to their loyal customers and making it really attractive to shop there.
And let's not forget about that Just Go exit technology they have.
That's pretty amazing.
Imagine a warehouse store with no checkout lines.
Yeah,
That's the future right there.
it is.
Okay, before we move on, let's take a step back and look at their overall performance.
All right.
Walmart exceeded expectations for sales, operating income, and earnings per share this quarter.
They did. And what's really encouraging is that their profit is growing faster than their sales.
Oh, interesting.
We're talking 9.8% versus 6.1%.
Wow.
That's a really healthy sign, you know?
Yeah.
It shows that their business model is working. And remember, they had some challenges this quarter with hurricanes and that port strike.
That's right. They had to deal with some unexpected events. So they're not just growing, they're growing profitably, and they're doing it despite some obstacles.
Exactly. That shows a lot of resilience and adaptability.
Speaking of adapting, let's talk about their general merchandise sales. They saw low single-digit growth in the U.S.,
Right.
which might not sound impressive at first glance, but we have to remember, We're in a period of deflationary pricing right now.
That's true. So that means people are actually buying more stuff,
Oh, I see.
not just stocking up on groceries because of inflation. It suggests that maybe consumer confidence is improving, or maybe Walmart's just really good at pricing their products strategically.
I love how they describe the seasonal merchandise in stores as energizing the shopping experience. Makes me want to go check it out myself.
It does. It's a good word for it.
And we can't forget about their international growth either. Strong general merchandise sales in places like Mexico, India, and China. It's a global trend.
It is. Walmart's tapping into a growing middle class worldwide, and that's a really smart move.
All right, time to talk about something that always gets me excited. New revenue streams. Advertising revenue jumped a whopping 28%, with Walmart Connect in the U.S. up 26%.
That's impressive growth.
They're becoming so much more than just a retailer. They're evolving into a sophisticated retail media platform.
Exactly. And they're not just slapping ads on shelves, they're focusing on ads that are actually helpful to shoppers.
I like that approach.
Things that help you discover new items or compare prices. And early tests are showing that customers actually like those types of ads.
That's encouraging. It's a win-win for everyone. And then there's their Marketplace and Walmart fulfillment services.
Both growing like crazy.
U.S. Marketplace growth hit 42% in Q3. That's the 5th consecutive quarter of over 30% growth, by the way. And their CU count is approaching a mind-boggling 700 million.
They're using their logistics expertise to help sellers,
How so?
offering fulfillment services at some of the lowest rates in the industry. It's a really smart strategy, allowing them to tap into that booming e-commerce market without having to build everything themselves.
It's like they're creating an ecosystem where everyone can succeed, from shoppers to sellers to advertisers.
Brilliant. Okay, I have to ask you about this because it sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie. Generative AI. CEO Doug McMillon mentioned some really exciting potential uses for this technology, not just for customers, but also for their own associates.
It's clear they're embracing those cutting-edge technologies. He talked about creating a personal shopping assistant that goes beyond just simple keyword searches. Imagine having an AI that anticipates your needs. That's incredible.
It really is.
And then there's My Assistant, which is a generative AI tool being used by their home office associates.
That shows they're committed to using AI across their entire business, not just for the customer-facing side of things.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. What stood out to you the most from all this? What was the biggest wow moment for you?
I think it's their ability to adapt and innovate. They're not abandoning their commitment to low prices. They're building on it in really smart ways.
They're proving that you can be a value-driven company
Yeah.
and still be a leader in innovation.
Exactly. And they're not afraid to try new things, which is refreshing to see, especially at their scale. They're a true force in retail.
Before we move on, I want to touch on something that's becoming increasingly important to shoppers:
Okay.
sustainability and ethical sourcing. Do you think Walmart is doing enough in these areas?
It's a critical question, and I think they're definitely aware of it.
Yeah.
They've made some commitments to environmental sustainability, ethical sourcing, and community engagement. They've set goals to reduce their carbon footprint, promote sustainable packaging, and support local communities.
It's good to hear.
It's not just talk, they're taking action.
So they're recognizing that their success is tied to the well-being of the planet and the communities they serve. All right, let's take a moment to digest all this information.
We've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive. Walmart is exceeding expectations, innovating like crazy, and they seem to be setting themselves up for continued success.
But we're not done yet.
Not at all.
We'll be back after a short break to dig deeper into their performance, explore the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for this retail giant. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Before we move on, I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier about Walmart's commitment to sustainability.
Yeah.
It's not just lip service. They're actually taking concrete steps to reduce their environmental impact. For example, they're investing heavily in renewable energy.
Really?
They've actually set a goal to power their operations with 100% renewable energy by 2035.
Wow, that's impressive. It shows they're thinking long term. Sustainability isn't just good for the planet, it's good for business too.
Exactly. Customers care about these things now.
They really do. They want to support companies that share their values.
And Walmart is also working on reducing waste throughout their supply chain. They're partnering with suppliers to come up with more sustainable packaging options. So they're making progress on multiple fronts.
Okay, so they're taking sustainability seriously. But what about their financial performance? We talked about it a little bit, but let's dig into the numbers.
All right, so their consolidated operating income saw a solid growth of 9.8% in constant currency, and their adjusted EPS jumped nearly 14% to $C$58 per share.
Those are some strong numbers. It seems like their strategy of balancing investments and growth while keeping an eye on profitability is really paying off.
Yeah, they're being strategic with their investments, putting resources into things like price reductions and wage increases. Those are crucial for long-term growth and for attracting and retaining talent.
You know those wage increases at Sam's Club that we talked about earlier, the ones announced in September?
Yeah,
Those are actually included in their fourth quarter guidance.
that's right.
It makes you wonder how those investments will impact their profitability projections going forward.
Well, it's a good question.
Right.
Those wage investments will definitely have an impact.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's a calculated risk they're willing to take. They're putting their employees first, recognizing that a well-compensated and engaged workforce is essential.
Absolutely. We often hear that from purpose-driven companies.
For sure.
It sounds like Walmart is aligning more and more with that philosophy. It's not just about squeezing every last penny out of their operations. It's about thinking about the bigger picture.
I think so too. It's a more holistic approach, understanding that their success is intertwined with the well-being of their employees and the communities they operate in.
So they're investing in their people and the planet.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the bottom line. What's their guidance for the rest of the year? Are they optimistic?
They've actually raised their full-year guidance
Really?
based on their strong performance so far. They're now projecting sales growth of 4.8% to 5.1% in constant currency for the full year, and they expect operating income to grow between 8.5% and 9.25%.
Wow, so they're raising the bar, they're betting on continued momentum. That's a pretty confident move considering all the uncertainties in the global economy.
It is.
It makes you wonder what they're thinking about those currency headwinds they mentioned.
Well, currency fluctuations definitely had a negative impact in Q3.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, after being a tailwind in the first quarter and neutral in the second, so it's been a bit of a roller coaster.
So what's the overall impact on their numbers?
Well, if the current rates hold, they're anticipating a headwind of about 100 basis points for Q4 reported sales growth and 200 basis points for operating income growth.
That's significant. But I guess the fact that they're still raising their full-year guidance suggests they believe their core business is strong enough to handle it.
I think so. Their implied Q4 guidance is actually slightly above their previous projections, even with those currency headwinds. It reinforces their resilience.
So it's almost like they're saying, we got this. They're not letting these external factors derail their plans. You know, I was reading something the other day about how Walmart is using its massive data trove to personalize the shopping experience.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge opportunity for them. They have so much data on customer preferences. They can use that data to create a more personalized and engaging shopping experience, both online and in stores.
Imagine walking into a Walmart store, and a digital display recommends products based on your past purchases or your saved shopping lists. Or you get personalized coupons on your phone as you walk down an aisle.
That's the future of retail, right?
It is. And with their investments in AI and machine learning, they're well positioned to do this really well.
They're even testing a feature where their app can help you navigate the store and find specific items on your shopping list.
Wow, that's taking convenience to a whole new level.
It is.
Now think about the possibilities for their online marketplace. They can recommend products from third-party sellers that match your interests.
Absolutely. They could even use data to connect shoppers with local sellers, promote small businesses, build a sense of community.
It's exciting to think about all the ways they can use data to make the shopping experience better. It's like they're taking the best of online and offline shopping and blending them together.
And that's what shoppers want these days, a convenient, personalized experience. Walmart gets it.
It's like they're building the future of retail right in front of us.
I agree. And it's fascinating to see how they're incorporating sustainability, employee well-being, and technology into their overall strategy.
So what are some key takeaways from all this? What should our listeners be thinking about?
Well, first of all, Walmart is doing exceptionally well. They're exceeding expectations across the board.
Sales, earnings, e-commerce, membership growth. They're firing on all cylinders.
Exactly. And they're navigating a really complex retail landscape. They're not just reacting to trends, they're shaping them,
They're making smart investments in technology and convenience.
setting themselves up for long-term success.
They found that sweet spot between growth and profitability while staying true to their values.
It's impressive. And they're not shying away from those bigger issues like sustainability and employee well-being either.
It's almost like they're saying, look, we can do it all.
Right, and they're doing it at a scale that's just mind-boggling.
I'm honestly blown away by their performance.
Yeah.
It feels like they're in a league of their own.
I agree. Walmart is a fascinating case study. It shows how a company can evolve and adapt to stay ahead of the game. They're not resting on their laurels, they're constantly innovating, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in retail.
Well said. This deep dive has been incredibly insightful, but we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore in their earnings call transcript and presentation slides.
Absolutely.
We encourage everyone to take a look, dig a little deeper, and draw your own conclusions about Walmart's future. And as you do, here's something to think about.
Okay.
How might Walmart's growing influence in e-commerce and retail media impact the entire retail landscape, the competitive dynamics of the industry?
That's a great question. It's definitely something to consider.
It is. It's a question we'll be pondering ourselves as we head into the final part of our deep dive into Walmart's Q3 earnings. We'll be back after a short break with our final thoughts and a glimpse into what the future might hold for this retail giant. Stay tuned. We're back for the final part of our deep dive into Walmart's Q3 earnings. We've seen all the positive stuff, but what about the challenges? What could potentially slow them down?
Well, no company is immune to challenges. One of the big ones for Walmart, and really any retailer, is the global economy.
Yeah, true.
Inflation, interest rates, consumer confidence, those are things they can't really control.
Even a giant like Walmart.
Exactly. It's a big external factor that could have a significant impact.
That makes sense. So, economy aside, what about competition? We were talking about how they're attracting higher income shoppers, but there are a lot of other companies going after those same customers.
Oh, absolutely. Competition is fierce. You've got the traditional brick and mortar stores, the e-commerce giants, and all those new direct-to-consumer brands popping up everywhere.
It's a crowded market.
It is. Walmart has to stay agile, keep innovating. They have to offer a shopping experience that really stands out.
So it's not just about low prices anymore. It's about the whole experience.
Right. Online, in-store, it all has to be seamless, convenient, and meet those evolving customer needs.
Exactly. And I'm also thinking about regulations. As Walmart grows its e-commerce and retail media businesses, they're probably going to face more scrutiny from regulators.
Oh, for sure, especially in areas like data privacy and antitrust. As they become more dominant, they'll need to navigate those regulations carefully.
It's something to keep an eye on.
Definitely. And then, of course, there's technology always changing, AI, automation, who knows what's next. The retail industry is constantly evolving.
So how can Walmart make sure they stay ahead of the curve?
Well, they've shown they're willing to embrace new technologies, like we've seen with their investments in AI and their focus on optimizing their logistics network. But they can't afford to get complacent. They need to keep investing in research and development, exploring new things, being open to new ways of doing business.
So, challenges, but also opportunities.
Absolutely.
What are some things our listeners should be thinking about when it comes to Walmart's future?
Well, one big question is, how will they use all that customer data they have?
Yeah, it's a goldmine.
It is. They have a real opportunity to create a super personalized shopping experience, but they have to do it responsibly, Respect privacy and build trust.
It's a delicate balance.
It is. They have to use that data ethically, or they risk losing customers. And they also need to keep thinking about how to blend the online and offline experiences.
Creating that seamless omnichannel experience.
Exactly. Customers want to be able to move between their phones, their computers, and their local Walmart store without any hiccups.
And have it all be personalized and consistent.
Exactly. And let's not forget about their role in supporting small businesses and communities.
Yeah, that's important.
As they grow their marketplace and those fulfillment services, they have a real chance to empower entrepreneurs and create economic opportunities.
It's like they can use their size and resources to help those smaller businesses thrive. Very few companies can do that.
It's true. It's a fascinating journey to watch. They've come such a long way, and they just keep evolving, pushing the boundaries.
This deep dive has given us so much to think about. We've seen how Walmart is exceeding expectations, innovating, and positioning themselves for continued success.
They're a testament to adaptability, vision, and customer focus. Their story is still being written. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me neither. And to our listeners, keep exploring Walmart's story. Dig into the information, form your own opinions, and ask yourself, how will this retail giant shape the future of commerce? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.